What's that?
Sure thing, Lloyd. Lots of natural
Lloyd
light.
has tasked us
Anyways,
with finalizing
after all
several
the fun we had on our
experiments,
previous
and
video
there
about
will be
this,
no
I said
coming back until the
let's
job
take
is
another look at
done. We are alone.
the
We must conquer
building random
or we
jank-ass
must
weapons from
die.
the
If
Archimedea
we
process.
fail,
So,
we fail life itself.
Lloyd, I'm
Should we
talking.
succeed, may
How,
our
how much monologuing do
sacrifice
you need
be
here?
forever unknown.
Uh,
With me, friends,
oh my
to
god.
war!
Next time I'll remember to let him finish before I hit the record button. Uh, anyways, so last time we did a primary weapon, uh, which was the Parasist. What's in the sector here? We got kit guns, dual toxicists, and twin gricadas. I mean, I could do a kit gun. Those are kind of neat, even though they've kind of fallen to the wayside a little. The dual toxicist is very powerful if you have the incarnate, and kind of meh if you don't, but it's not really something. The twin gricadas, maybe they're not terribly known. Then we have the Lesion and the Heat Dagger. Huh. And I don't own the single croaker anymore, as I built the dual croaker. Let's think. So the Legion, this is an old classic. It's an infested polearm. It increases its attack. If it tastes blood, it becomes vigory with faster attack speed and increased toxin damage. I don't know what tastes blood means, but I'll look that up at some point. Uh, this is actually very old from when Aneros came out. Aneros actually came out with the dual toxicist, Legion, and the Mutilus Cernos. I guess the Legion. I guess none of these could be his prime weapons because they're all infested. But anyways, uh, setting that aside, you can get the blueprint for it and make it by. You have to build a Tipido or Tipedo, and then you just do this other junk. It's pretty easy, and you will require Mastery Rank 9. Looking at this, we can see it's very much biased to slash. The toxin it's talking about is not already on there, so I'll have to look at that. And it's status, but not terrible stats either way. So we'll give it a look. This is my existing build on the Legion. Very obviously a rank and bank. It might have had other mods on it, but it's they've fallen off because I ranked them up past its capacity, I guess. Melee status effects grant 15% attack speed and 100% toxin damage for 6 seconds, which will combine with other mods. So we're going to inflict status effects. That's probably fine as a stance. They're going into the polarity. So it's going to give itself toxin. Which means... yeah, we could just go slash viral. Do I have 4 slashes in these combos? There's one on the forward block. There are on the gold ones, I know that for sure. So if we give this cold... I'm percolating the brain. Do I have a blood rush? Yeah. I did not have a potato in this. That's how rank and banked it was. Because it adds toxin, hero chassis every time. Yeah, I can't put electric on the end because the toxin won't combine with the electric unless I pre-combine the toxin. So I'd almost say if I wanted to make viral, the other element would be irradiation. That sucks. Uh, let's go. Let's bring in some boys. We'll throw some 150 regulars here. Okay, it does make the viral. We'll get a fair amount of slashes in here. What to do? Anyways, I will think on this and we'll come back to it. Good old Tech Rod, good old teammate who's for some reason like 400 meters back. Of course, one of the Technocytes liches popped up and attacked. Hopefully he can handle his business back there. This is doing alright, I guess, for a barely built weapon. We're chopping through some Tech Rod here. Realized I'm a dumb and forgot the rules of my own series, but hey, at least we're only on the second episode, so it's forgivable, right? Frames, I'm going to take Ember to support a weapon out of those options. Grendel would be number 2, and Nidus is kind of for that. So, Ember it is. Alright, so here's where we're at so far. We'll throw on a little forma here. I did the stance forma, because I had one lying around, but we have switched to Twirling Spire. Because, you know, it does so much more damage. It's not even close. So yeah, we're still running condition overload. We've got the cold that turns into viral. As noted, I switched to Ember because I remembered to actually match the Warframe. So we are getting her heat buff on the top 2, which also plays with the viral and gives us some condition overload and a huge amount of damage. We could throw that away. That was a temporary kind of in-between step. I'm thinking what we probably want is some Weeping Wounds on this sucker. I could use my Riven, but that would not really. That's not a great. Throwing Rivens into build videos for general consumption is not a good plan. So we'll throw some Weeping Wounds in here. I'm also gonna unlock the Arcane slot. Thought I had one, but sure. And we can't do Influence. We're not processing the right type, so I'm inclined to go with Afflictions, but our combo doesn't do that. The final part of the combo does do that. Only on one, though. We'll see how it goes. And then we'll tap back in. Underestimate them at your peril. Anyways. These are a little more chunky. But we're still getting some stuff done. I don't have the build finished yet, so ultimately kind of fine. This seems to be going alright. I've actually forgotten the combo for my melee afflictions, but it's all neutrals. We're moved up to the steel path now. So I will be back when we've got the next forma. Alright, so we're doing pretty well with it so far. We've done a couple of steel path tests. Let's just pop our V polarity in here. Well, here we'll fix these for the nitpicky people. All right. Yeah, like that for now. So let me just get back out here so my stuff shows properly again. Feeling like we need range on this. This is 3 meters. Spring loaded is like 2 meters max, right? It's much cheaper, but yeah, it only goes up to 2. For polarity wise. It's really, basically there's no reason to run. If you're not going to run the Moth, you always want to run Primed Reach if you have it. I'm trying to think. We got the 2 combo mods in there. What is really going to put the best kind of upper on our damage? Right? It would be crit damage, right? Galvanized steel is going to stack up, but maybe it's a little slow. So we could try and put this in. Just get a little bonus there. Go ahead. Strain is a whole nother story. Tennokai, obviously. Or we could just dump straight in for more slash. That wouldn't be terrible. It is very, very high in slash. Can't fit that, though. Oh. Do that. Still can't fit that. We'll consider that for the next go-round. For now, let's just pop a Carnus Mandible in there for a little tiny bit extra. And we'll go give it another round in the form of mines. I've noticed I'm getting toxin procs. Which means I've messed up the modding somehow because I should be getting virals. We'll fix that in post. No, he's next to that other fucking thing. That is a bit of a problem. Where's the necromech and all this? Did I kill the necromech somehow? What the hell is that effect? Well, we got 2 hollow veins. I'm not sure what happened to the necromech. Lol. Oh, that was easy. Compared to like overlapping 19 overguard generating enemies. So we're back here again. See, at bonus points if you spotted last time that I accidentally took out the gold mod that makes the viral. I did put that back in, of course. We will just drop a good old dash here. And then we got reach, we got attack speed. Oh yeah, we literally need. I just said that. You'd think I have the attention, so I'm just like a squirrel. And we get status with Elementalist, but we have to kill. Just give me a bit of a Chase over. I'm gonna say this for now. How much does it add if we do this? Only like 100 after. So yeah, it's not going to actually be the gigantic difference that you might think. Obviously, we want to get Tennokai in on this. Probably the crit one, I would say. Because we're lacking it's the damage we're lacking more than anything. Dreamer's Wrath I don't have enough capacity for, though. So we'll throw in just more consistent Tennokai and some range. We're contemplating changing the companion to the one I currently have is a heat primer. Which isn't as super consistent as I might want it to be. Not sure why I did that, but... thing this is what I do not like is the damage over time build. So I'm kind of assuming that they're gonna die behind me part of the time. And energy regen is probably the biggest thing when we get into more beefier enemies that I'm concerned about. Is can we keep up the energy supply? Anyways, off to rank up again. Catch you in a few. Lesion finished. I am choosing to substitute the companion I was using, which was my Worm Prime. That's a Heat Inherit Primer, which I normally use with Ember, but that's more to do with her abilities. But we're using a weapon now, so yeah. So here we are, and here we go. We'll pop into good old Archimedea to try this out. It's worth knowing that Archimedea is, you know, a group activity that you should not be doing solo. So we are actually deficit for our buffs here, as compared to what we should be. Gotta get a combo on the go here before this is really gonna work. This is already going better than, you know, the Parasist did. Possibly helped by Ember. Broadly speaking, been a little bit more for damage than Nyx, especially when we're fighting armored enemies. I didn't know what the actual, like, mutators were. I wasn't paying attention, so. I could find a decent group of enemies. I could get some overguard. So yeah, kind of as expected. It has a lot more viability than melee weapons at all. Yeah, can he not be targeted by that? This isn't gonna work because I have to chase them around. Also, there's a Jade Light attacking me from who knows where. Let's go back to the regular enemies. So yeah, we have an Archimedea worthy weapon. Again, as expected, you're going to be hard pressed to find a melee that you cannot make work, particularly when you have a Warframe and a companion attached to it. You're also going to have a hard time finding a Warframe that can't buff your melee in some way or another. So I'll pop back so you can see the build. With a little less spam going on. And we'll see you there. Oh yeah, if you're wondering why I don't do it in the other one, Temporal, it's because 1999 has the Hex overrides. I made a whole video about this, but I think it was TikTok exclusive. Don't trust builds you see in 1999 because they can have so many extra buffs from those overrides. But here's some 1999 guys. Steel Path here. Just for the benefit of the viewing public. So Ember, I think the only thing I changed from my actual Ember video, which you can find in the builds playlist, which will probably be down in the description. If not, just look, it's going to be near the top in their playlist because I'm always adding to it. The only real thing, I think I swapped Healing Flame for something. I think it was Umbral, actually Umbral Intensify. There's no Umbral Intensify on this build, which would normally be there. So yeah, I threw that in. That's where we're getting the overguard and some protection. Oops, that's the Aki Core that I'm not using. Here is a fully built out Lesion. So 5 Forma is kind of expensive. That's 5 days. So if you're trying to do this for Archimedea, you've already had your options reset. Unless you had Forma built up and you did it really fast, which you can, depending how much you actually play the game. If you have to work, it's going to be pretty tough. But uh, basically, yeah, we are using the unique trait to have the toxin. We actually kind of slow the enemy down, which is kind of neat, and then throw the toxin on. It's got some fairly high slash. We're adding fire from Ember as a pick. If you want to add fire with any Warframe, you can Helmet on Thermal Sunder and equip the augment for that. And give yourself a fire buff, and your whole team a fire buff with that. You can also give yourself a blast buff if you cast them both together. They'll turn into a combined blast buff, which will work equally well with Elementalist and Viral, arguably better. So yeah. This, I like having the more frequent ones. You could, of course, go with either of them. Dreamer's Wrath or Conditions Perfection. One thing I would say is Dreamer's Wrath, you occasionally will run things like the Technocyte Coda, and some of them do cap their status, even their heat status or blast status to 4. It's really annoying when you run a blast build because you need 10 procs to detonate the explosion immediately. Or killing them, either one. So if you can only get 4 procs, you can't get the mega damage boost off blast. Pretty basic here. We got combo stuff. You got your Galvanize, Steel and Elementalist, Primed Reach, Berserker Fury. You could sub that out with Quickening. Quickening if you want, if you're having trouble keeping the combo up or you're not running Nairmon, Quickening gives you less attack speed, but gives you the extra combo count. The other one you might normally put in there is there's a Gladiator, one of the Gladiator mods, because that will give you the mini Blood Rush effect from Gladiator set as well. Vice, that's the one I'm thinking of. For more critical chance, which this has enough of to make it usable. Not really a crit weapon per se. Weeping Wounds, of course. And just the Vicious Frost is what combines with our toxin to make the viral. So, hopefully you've enjoyed this one. We'll see you in the next video. Again, remember to like, comment, subscribe. You know the fun drill. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.